Hey folks, welcome back to the Cotswold Collectibles YouTube channel. I am Greg Brown, president and owner of Cotswold Collectibles. In the last video, we started off on our series of exploring 1/6 scale or semi-related scale animals, insects, dinosaurs, and such. Last week, we started off with exploring snakes that we carry in stock here at Cotswold. This week, I decided to shake things up a little bit and talk about prehistoric animals, aka dinosaurs. Again, kind of rehash what we talked about last week. We have been carrying a lot of product from Safari Limited, and then we started expanding from Safari Limited to Papo, then to Mojo, and then finally we started collecting from a company called COLLECTA. All four of these companies are fantastic in their detail and such, and their attention to detail is phenomenal. I wanted to carry these because, again, this goes with the adventurer style storyline or the explorer style storyline where there was an animal that they were trying to hunt down and find or rescue or whatever. And I tried to find dinosaurs that were as close to scale as possible. Some of them wouldn't be true scale, but you can kind of fidget a little bit because, as you know, with the G.I. Joe Adventure Team, a lot of the animals that they had were smaller in scale to the G.I. Joe figure, aka the pygmy gorilla is a great example of that. So this time around, I brought a figure so you could kind of get a scale of what's going on with these animals. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on this side, and then we're just kind of slowly make our way over here. On this side over here, we're going to be looking at the Raptor series of dinosaurs. Contrary to popular belief, raptors are not very big. The Jurassic Park series shows them as a lot bigger, but in reality, raptors were quite small. In fact, this one right here, and this is a raptor from Safari Limited. This is basically what a true scale of a velociraptor would be in comparison to a figure. In fact, it might be a little bit smaller, but that's about a pretty good approximation. So we have this one from Safari Limited. And then we have this other one. This also is from Safari Limited. And this is a feathered velociraptor. If you've studied history on dinosaurs, there has lately been a trend in scientists thinking that the possibility of dinosaurs being feathered versus being scaled is gaining in prominence. So we have the scaled version of a velociraptor, and then we also have the feathered one. They're both pretty comparable in size. This one's just a little bit bigger, but we decided to carry both of them. So if you like your velociraptors feathered, we have it. If you like them scaled, you have it as well. This one is actually from Mojo, and it's called a TROODON, but it kind of falls in the same velociraptor area. It's a feathered version, more feathers here, so I don't know if it's necessarily a velociraptor, but it falls in the family. And what's really cool about this one from Mojo is it does have an articulated jaw, so you can play around with that. Next, you hit Mojo as well, and this one is called a Baryonyx. So this is a little bit larger, but it still kind of has that same velociraptor feel, and as with the other Mojo one, it does have an articulated jaw. Really cool paint scheme, pattern on there as well. Nice green and good scale. Then you get kind of more into the bird-like phases with this. This one is actually from Safari Limited as well, and it's called an OVIRAPTOR. So it's in the raptor family, but again, it's a little bit smaller than the other raptor, but it has more of a bird vibe to it as well. It has nice work on the feathers and like that. But also, Safari Limited decided they were going to do a raptor that is more in line with the Jurassic Park series, and we've been carrying this one for quite some time. So he's considerably larger. So if you want to have that Jurassic Park raptor vibe to it with your G.I. Joe, this is probably the one you're going to get. Again, a nice pattern on it. It has that little claw that if you watch the movie, they talk about that little claw. So that's basically the ones that deal with the Raptor series. Next, we're going to kind of branch off and we were looking at just a variety of animals. This one is from Mojo. It's called a Spinosaurus. So the reason they call it a Spinosaurus is because of that, and it has the adjustable jaw. Real simple paint pattern on this one, but I'm sure the Spinosaurus is considerably larger, so you could call this a pygmy Spinosaurus if you want to. but in contrast to the GI Joe, it's pretty good size. This is a new one that we just got. We got this one in from COLLECTA, and this one is called a DIMORPHODON, and it's called the DIMORPHODON Deluxe. It is super cool. It's one that's would be representing one of the birds of flight, kind of like a pteranodon. But this one, he's in the prone position, therefore his wings are kind of folded up. He also has a mouth that opens and closes. The scale is really cool. The size is really cool, especially in contrast to a GI Joe. He's super big, super menacing, and that's the reason why we picked this one. We've always been on the lookout for pteranodons. The only other one we have is this one right here from Safari Limited, and you can kind of see the size of it isn't that impressive. In fact, this one would probably be mostly for like, I would say you'd be pushing, excuse me, this is from Papo. This would be good for a 1/18 scale figure, maybe a little bit smaller. But we got these just in case people wanted to have a smaller one, but this bad boy, he dwarfs them. So really cool pieces. Another piece that we have and we've been carrying for a while, this is from Safari Land, is another Spinosaurus. So we have this Spinosaurus, and then we have this Spinosaurus. A little bit different. This tells you the difference in the paint jobs and how they do it. This one has a more alligator feel to it. The tail looks more alligatorish. It still has a spine here. Larger mouth. These swam in the water. That's the reason why this one has the feet in the back, because he's supposed to be swimming through the water. So this could be for like a marsh or whatever. But another thing, the size is considerably larger. We try to get as large as we can on these. So again, you would have a good comparison to him. You could say it was a baby Spinosaurus, whatever floats your boat. Speaking of babies, this one right here, which is a Protoceratops, this is a baby, and this is the one out of all of them that is truly 1/6 scale. When we did the search on COLLECTA, who manufactured this one was listed as a 1/6 scale. So when you have your GI Joe and you have this Protoceratops, this is exactly what a 1/6 scale baby Protoceratops would look like. So we're not very far off in how we're getting the scales on this. This one is exceptionally detailed, and as with some of the other ones, it has a mouth that can open and close. So super good detail, super great detail on that. And this is from COLLECTA. Then, I guess I could have probably addressed this one as part of the Raptor series. This is called, and I'm going to butcher it, an ARCHAEOPTERYX. So this is from Safari Limited underneath their Wild Safari. So this is basically the ancestor of birds. And if you study birds, you'll see a lot of connections between birds and with the dinosaurs, especially on their feet and their beaks and such like this. And the reason I say this is probably going to be a part of the VELOCIRAPTOR family is it has that little claw that's up there. If you remember watching the series on the Jurassic Park series, remember they were tapping with that. So this is not a bad scale, actually. We've carried this one for a few years. In fact, we did a set with it. It is called the THERIZINOSAURUS. Again, this is one that has kind of a little bit of a connection with birds. It has the feathers on the arms. It's kind of in the same vein as this one. It has the feathered arms and then the regular feet. But this guy is almost furry as opposed to feathered. If you look at the way, you have the feathered tail, you have the feathered arms, but if you look at the way it's done, it comes off as being almost like a furry dinosaur. But again, it's a really cool scale. You'd have him like this, and so that's about the scale that he would be to a GI Joe figure. Then we have the ancestor to the dinosaur, the Sarcosuchus. This one's a little bit small, but still it's pretty impressive. If you've ever seen the GI Joe crocodile or alligator, it's about the same scale. So if you're forfeiting realism, sometimes this would be pretty nice. It's pretty long. It's almost 12 inches tall, but excellent paint scheme, very well made. Some would see this and they think it's a coelacanth, which we do carry. The only reason I didn't put the coelacanth on here is the coelacanth actually still exists. It's a living dinosaur, as they call it, but this is called a DUNKLEOSTEUS or something. DUNKLEOSTEUS, whatever. So this one comes in a gold paint scheme. It's about scale. It was a big fish, a pretty menacing looking fish. You can see how he is to that. And then finally, we come up to the last one. This one is called the KRONOSAURUS. This was, as you can tell, was another water-based dinosaur. His mouth doesn't close, but he almost kind of looks like a dolphin's ancestor. Super tall, he's about 13 inches long. This would be a pretty good one if you're doing it where the jaws are in the ocean or whatever like that. I think it was a saltwater based animal, but like I said, it has a really unique paint scheme. That's basically it on these. I think we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, about 15 dinosaurs. We're always on the lookout for new ones. We try to find ones that look menacing, because obviously the ones that look docile don't look cool. You know, you want the guys with the teeth bared and everything like that. So anyway, that wraps up our dinosaurs. And what we're going to do next week is we're going to continue on this series with Safariland and with COLLECTA and with Mojo and with Papo. We're going to explore next week cats. And that's going to be felines, that's going to be jaguars, stuff like that. We have a lot of them. And what's really cool about that series is some of the animals are pretty good scale for 1/6 scale, especially the jaguars and mountain lions. So make sure that you like, subscribe, and make any comments below about this video. And we'll see you guys next week.